of faith.
This is the way. Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Tells me when you'll see Memphis.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Film Optix, brought to you by the Drive-In Podcast Network, where we discuss film, TV, and everything pop culture related. And today, we're going to be reviewing the latest Netflix series, Sweet Tooth. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host and my good friend, Devon. How are you doing today, man? It's late at night, and we decided to do this last minute. I don't know when this is going to come out, but hopefully soon. But yeah, how you been?
Sup, big man? How's it going?
Not much, Sweet Tooth.
I just love their rapport. It's so good.
Yeah. Like, and for the longest time, I've been trying to binge this theory, or I've been meaning to watch it. At first, I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe. And then you were like, no, it's like really, really good. And I was like, oh, okay. Like that's actually reassuring. And you're like, yeah, I feel like you feel like I actually like it.
It's up your alley.
It really is. And wow, what a journey it's been. I literally spent the entire day binging this. I
can't think of a better way to spend a Sunday.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, it's 8 episodes, which is really, really great. You know, we'll get into the nooks and crannies here in a bit, but yeah. So how was your Sunday? You just been hanging out, chilling?
Yeah, just lazy as always.
I feel that, man. I mean, we got 2 weeks until 4th of July, so that's pretty cool. So, I mean, it is what it is, but yeah, I've been pretty much doing the same thing. I platinumed Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, so I'm officially done with that. So, kind of wanted to throw that in there just to be a little, just a little excited, because it was a lot of fun to complete. And I guess it's back to Mass Effect for me. Yeah. All Mass Effect 3 grind, and you know, all the great games are going to be coming to Game Pass and whatnot. So I think I'm going to be trying out a lot of that stuff. But have you thought about buying Last of Us Part 2 yet? Because this story of Sweet Tooth really kind of reminds me that has a lot of parallels between that and The Last of Us.
I'll get it eventually.
Come on, Devin.
A nice sale.
Continue the story. Yeah, I know what you mean. Honestly, like, I mean, it's been out. It's officially been out for a year as of yesterday, on Saturday, June 19th. So it has officially been out for a year, which isn't bad. So honestly, I think around holiday time, or even Amazon Prime Day, that's around the corner too, isn't it?
Tomorrow.
Oh, that's tomorrow?
Yep.
Oh man. Well, RIP to my Amazon.
Open up the wallet.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. I mean, you got your eye on anything, or you kind of just hanging out?
I have no idea. There's always something that pops up.
Yeah, man. Because it's like, I feel like, what was it, last year we didn't really get too much, or was it 2 years ago? I guess Amazon Prime Day has seen better days, but apparently there's other stores that will also be competing with Amazon Prime on Prime Day. So I think Walmart, Target for sure, maybe Best Buy. I'm not entirely sure, but I mean, hey, I'll see what they have and kind of just stock up on what I can. But before we begin today's show, you can listen to our podcast on platforms around the internet, and make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Film Optix. That is Optix with an X for all of our latest announcements. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. And lately, did you hear about this, Devin? Facebook maybe getting into the podcast game.
I saw that.
So we gotta input that RSS feed wherever we can. So I think that starts on the 22nd. I read a few articles about it. I saw some people who got invited to it, so I'm not 100% how this all is supposed to work. And I'm doing a little bit of research on the Apple. They're doing like their own content creator program thing. So I really don't know. We'll just have to kind of keep our ears to the ground on that one. But hey, man, like, it is what it is. So let's just let's get started here with our Sweet Tooth review. We're gonna do a little bit of a non-spoiler section for those who haven't watched it. I believe this it dropped on the June 4th. So earlier this month. This is actually like our first series review that we've done that kind of just, we're not really all for the I guess we usually do like new releases, not saying that this isn't a new release, but it's just I don't know. Anyway, let's just get started here. It is a little bit late, so we're going to try to, tackle this as quickly as we can, but not too quick, of course. But the story is as follows. A boy who is half human, half deer survives in a post-apocalyptic world with other hybrids. That's like, that's the synopsis on IMDb. Creators is Jim Mickle and Beth Schwartz, not Ben Schwartz. Almost had a bit of I was like, wait, Ben Schwartz when I saw it on
Sonic.
He's
a hybrid, right?
Yeah, I think he's a hybrid. So there are 8 episodes total for season 1, and the cast is as follows. We have Nonso, Anozie, and then we have Christian Convery and Stefania LaVie Owen. Christian Convery plays Gus, our hero, in this journey. And I believe this is also a DC property, if I'm not mistaken, which is odd because I've never heard of Sweet Tooth before. Have you?
I have not, except for when the series was originally announced.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. producing.
Yeah, I saw that too. I was like, okay, he's getting his hands a little bit in there. You see a lot of actors today that are that are getting their hands into that because I feel like it's maybe the next step. They don't want to necessarily direct, but producing, I guess you're calling more of the shots. And then executive producer is like, up there. But yeah, I wanted to get your thoughts about this first because I literally just finished the series myself, but I wanted to get your initial reactions to the series because you watched it about a week or two ago.
Yeah, sometime around there.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah. Tell me what's on your mind.
I really enjoyed it overall. It's just like a really fun ride, and I think it came out at a perfect time because I'm not going to say we're past the pandemic, but we're at a more comfortable spot, I guess. So this show being about a pandemic, it's kind of more entertaining to watch. It's not as depressing as it would have been if it came out like last year. Like imagine watching this in the middle of a pandemic. With no end in sight.
Yeah, we're technically still in the pandemic, even though it seems that the general public has kind of forgotten that rule. Because I went to Costco today to pick up some things. And like, even though I am vaccinated, like I still wear my mask just out of like the respect of other people. But I think I was like maybe one of 10 people in the entire store that was actually wearing a mask. And
yeah, it's definitely becoming like 50-50 here.
Yeah. And it's kind of weird. I get it, but I'm assuming everyone is vaccinated, but I'm not 100% sure if that's like true because, unless you have the card to prove it, if you got the Pfizer, the Johnson Johnson, well, there's another one out there as well. But yeah, it is kind of weird. But yeah, this series really does reflect on what's going on in like today's world.
I like how they call them the sick.
Yeah.
Did you get the sick?
The sick. It's so everyone's trying to avoid the word quarantine at all costs, which is hilarious because it's like, okay, like we know what it is. Like they literally wear masks in the series, like throughout the entire series. And it's like, oh, okay. Like you can kind of tell when this was, filmed, but it still is kind of funny because I really don't know. We haven't really seen, like, obviously, like with a lot of movies that during, depending on the time, it kind of reflects, what's going on in the world. And like, yeah, we've gotten like, what was that, that one HBO Max with Anne Hathaway and the guy from
that was rough.
Lockdown. It's like, yeah, okay, it was a virus movie and whatnot, but this really kind of just mimics what was going on. Like there was a more of a contagion, the sick, as we talked about, and
and to go along with that storyline, they also have what I recommended. Why I recommended the show to you is just that classic duo journey.
Yeah,
like kind of the Ellie Joel or the Shrek donkey. I don't know. I'm sure there's other ones. I don't know what. Those are the only two that I can think of.
Yeah, I will say overall, I got a lot of Last of Us vibes from this, and I'm like, this is just so weird. I'm like, I kind of got it with A Quiet Place Part 2 a little bit, and I guess this is just the new thing. You get the classic duo on a journey, whether it be like a girl and like a girl and a girl and a guy, or vice versa or whatever. But this, they go to Colorado not for a cure, but to find Sweet Tooth's mother. Also, actually, hold on really quick. There we go. Spoiler section from here on out. I do apologize. We're doing this late at night, so we do apologize. It's not as structured as our.
It's been a few weeks.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched it, just watch.
Yeah, that is very, very true. Because June 4th is when it dropped. So, I mean, it's only 8 episodes long. The episodes aren't super long. I think they're
a solid 40 to 50.
Yeah. I would say, I think the season starter and the finale are hitting around 50, especially the first episode, which I really, really enjoyed.
The first one was such a good hook.
Yeah. It sets up so much, and you find out, like, obviously they don't give you the entire story, but you kind of have an idea of what's going on. Gus and his father during not the ripple, but like the crack, or during the sick, like during that pivotal part where the entire world kind of just shuts down. So it is that post-apocalyptic world, but not as post-apocalyptic as you may think, because things are still operable. But I mean, society has definitely lost its way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I can see the similarities there, but like, I mean, as I said, the first episode starts off so strong, and it just really gets you set up and excited for the rest of the series, especially like the very, very end. You get so much backstory between Gus and his father.
Yeah, I love Will Forte in this. Pubba.
Pubba, that's right. For some reason I thought you said Bubba. I was like, no, it's Pubba. It's like kind of like Papa, but
yeah.
I don't know where they got that from. Is this a comic? Because I know it is okay. It is okay. So I wasn't sure if it was. I know it was like a DC property, but I just never really heard of Sweet Tooth before. But he does have a sweet tooth, like literally, like the kid's obsessed with candy.
Oh yeah,
which is kind of hilarious. But
and he just drinks syrup.
Yeah, maple syrup to be to be a little bit more precise there. But yeah, so like, I guess going through the journey, what did you think of like the side characters, and especially the villain? Because I was getting a little bit of Dr. Robotnik vibes, just like his.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too. He looks a lot like Dr. Robotnik, but he's a lot more boring. That's one of the big issues I had with the series, was the villain was just really lame.
Very generic. Yeah.
Yeah. Just kind of bad just to be bad. We don't really know anything about him. We didn't get any background on him, really.
Right.
He just kind of shows up places and does bad things.
I think he showed up like maybe 3 or 4 times throughout the entire series. But I think that society, ever since, the sick happened, like the crack that happened between, the pandemic that they're in, they equate the hybrid children, which, are a hybrid between pretty much any kind of animal you can think of and a human. They kind of associate the hybrids.
They really nailed the look for Gus down, by the way. Like that was so important. They made him look like it looks natural. It looks like it could be real. A hybrid deer child.
Yeah, like even down to like his not even just his antlers, but like his ears, like the way that they moved, the mannerisms of you know, how it kind of conveyed with his emotions. Like you can
some of the other ones, not so much. They look a little strange, but they nailed the main character. That's
are you talking about the gopher?
Yeah. That was weird.
I forgot the gopher's name. Oh my gosh, that was
Bobby, I think.
I think so, yeah. And yeah, it's the gosh, yeah, like you said, the makeup and everything, it does look very real. I mean, some of the CGI shots throughout the series could be a bit better, but I kind of just overlooked that because I wasn't really, you know, you can't really expect like the best graphics in the world for everything. But like you said, they definitely nailed Gus. And, you know, with him and Big Man, he actually played in Game of Thrones for a bit as well. But didn't make it too far. He got locked in a vault. So it was really nice to see, you know, how it is like a coming of age series, because they do meet Bear along the way, which was crazy with that adventure. But you know, when Sweet Tooth first meets Big Man after Sweet Tooth's dad passes away from the sick, with that weird that weird pinky thing. Like,
yeah, the pinky twitch.
Yeah, like, well, what did you think about that really quick? I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I guess it's important to set up that there's a sign, a telltale sign if you have the disease.
Yeah,
because otherwise you wouldn't even know.
It seems like that is like the sign that everyone looks for. It's like, because you see it, like there's three storylines throughout this entire series. You know, you have Sweet Tooth and Big Man. You have the Dr. Indian couple, and then you have the lady who was at the zoo.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up. It's funny that you were kind of struggling to remember the last one, because I thought there was like one too many storylines. That zoo one was pretty weak compared to the other two.
I do agree that was my least favorite storyline. I guess you can call that the C plot, but I really like how they are, you know, throughout the end of the series finale, that everything is kind of coming together. Finally, these characters are starting to interact with
that ending when they all hug Gus. I was like, oh yes, there's my boy.
Big Man was it's so and like, especially with like Bear. I don't want to get your thoughts about her in a second, and her crew, her tribe. You know, her tribe trying to, you know, protect the hybrid, because, you know, they think that they're pretty much like, you know, the second coming of like the human race, like the evolution, and, you know, they're going to save the planet and whatnot. But later on that we do find that Gus was actually like the first hybrid science experiment. And kind of see how his quote unquote, you know, his adoptive parents, or just his parents, you can call them, actually met, which was interesting. But before we get into that, I wanted to get your thoughts about Bear really quick and her storyline. Did you feel like she was too like one note about, you know, because she wasn't too crazy about humans, but I wanted to get your thoughts on her.
Yeah, I thought she was all right. She kind of gave me I forgot her character's name from Stranger Things. Her vibes of her. No, the new one they added.
Oh, Max.
Worked at the yeah. Kind of gave me Max vibes.
Yeah,
but I guess the issue I have with that is that they kind of just ditched their crew after like the one episode. I thought it was kind of interesting that they had a crew of teenagers looking out for hybrids.
But that she started, by the way.
Yeah, and then they kind of just. She kind of just leaves them, which was weird, and then they don't revisit it.
I can kind of understand her leaving, because you did see the inner turmoil between Bear and Tiger, their code names. So I thought that was actually pretty interesting how the position of power can quickly change. I mean, we've seen it in movies like Rise of the Planet of the Apes, like that entire trilogy. And, you know, everyone's seeing that, oh, well, you know, like the original leader seems to have lost their way. They're not really like, you know, standing for the principles that, we once held true to our own. And, Bear kind of sees the relationship between Big Man and Sweet Tooth after a while and seeing how they actually do care for one another. But I wanted to talk about the writing a little bit as well, because like during the beginning, when Sweet Tooth and Big Man are like just starting out, like it's probably some of the funniest scenes ever. Like,
yeah, I love the first like 3 episodes.
Yeah.
They were just so entertaining.
Yeah. Did any episodes fall short for you, like at all? Did you feel any padding?
I really didn't like the train episode.
I thought that was okay.
The CGI was really rough in that one. First of all, like everything that happened in the train around the train. Looked rough.
It literally, it's like, okay, like we know that they're on like a green screen, but it's like that was like too obvious.
Yeah, I don't know. I just did not like that train episode.
Okay, because they finally get to the train, after like an episode or 2 of trying. And it was like I think I'm there with you. I do believe that it was just okay. Like it didn't like it was the entire episode was served for them to finally get to Colorado, to this safe haven where all the hybrids live. And I believe that wasn't the zoo, was it? Was that the airplane?
I think it was the zoo.
I think it was too. Yeah, and like you said, they're kind of switching back and forth a lot. But I feel like each storyline received its ample amount of time.
Yeah, I really love the background episode on his mom and dad.
That was awesome.
When Pubba met Birdie, it was really cool to see his mom, because we hadn't up until then, but she seems like a really cool character, and of course Pubba's really funny.
Yeah, it's cool. It's funny because you never really know where life's gonna lead you, and you kind of see it's
just a wild how it all happened. Like they go on one date and it lasts all night, and then by the end of it they're breaking out this hybrid animal from the lab, and she just kind of leaves it with him.
Yeah,
it all happens so fast.
She's like, hey, by the way, I need to go back to my work because there's this this virus that could potentially affect millions of lives. And yeah, like it's you find out Gus, as he's a little bit older than the other hybrids. He's one of a few hybrids that can actually speak English fluently, which apparently isn't a thing. And it kind of just snowballs, escalates into like all these other things. And, Bubba's like, wait, what? Like, this is too much. We just met. He's like, hey, like, I think you're a great girl, but it's just too much. And he kind of just goes with it. But like, you can definitely tell that he was in love, or at least interested in, in Birdie at the time. And we, as we know, we later find out towards the season finale that, Birdie is alive and well, and she gets in contact with Bear. So I thought that was pretty cool how they're...
Yeah, I love that ending, setting up that season 2. Come on, Netflix.
Seriously, I was like, man, like that was a perfect setup for the next season. Like, I was looking at the runtime because after when Big Man kind of gets shot, I was like, there's no way they're ending it like right here. And then, Sweet Tooth runs into the Indian doctor, and it's just, it's so good. Like, it sets up so much for season 2. But was there anything else you kind of wanted to touch on before we close out here?
What did you think of that the doctor side story?
I actually liked it.
I thought it was pretty interesting because he's like humanity's last hope, basically.
Yeah,
at the end.
And he killed his indirectly killed his neighbor with the horse.
That horse.
She was so nosy, man, so nosy. And I was like, she had Karen vibes all over. Just I was not feeling it whatsoever, but she did such a great job. But yeah, I really like how he finds like a temporary cure for his wife, in the community that they live in. It's like if someone gets the sick, then they they quarantine them, and then they literally burn their entire house down because of those purple velvet, like violet flowers. Like anytime like somebody dies with the sick, apparently those show up. And we find out with the Indian doctor, Dr. C or Singh, I think it was, that he's been harboring his wife who has the sick, but she's not contagious. So it's kind of hard to talk to people when all they see is that twitching little pinky. But yeah. I did enjoy it though. Like I really liked their character like development, and Dr. Singh kind of just I guess choosing to do what's right, because he does run into Sweet Tooth later on during the season finale, and he's so amused and about Sweet Tooth because Sweet Tooth can talk. And, they were supposed to extract Sweet Tooth for the cure. So I guess the cure is more of they need to like kill X amount of like hybrid children in order to quote unquote make the cure a success. But we've kind of seen with a lot of other stories, especially with The Last of Us, it's like, oh, well, if, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen The Last of Us, the only way to find a cure for Ellie, for humanity, because Ellie is immune, is to extract it from, Ellie's brain, and thus killing Ellie in the process. But it kind of shows you that, even if there is a cure out there, it doesn't necessarily mean that things are going to go back to normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just people fighting over it over and over and over again. But yeah, I do apologize. I'm rambling here a bit, but was anything else you wanted to touch on before we wrap up here?
I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the narrator, James Brolin. I liked hearing his voice. It was it's got a little bit of twang, but it's also very comforting.
It's very soothing. Yeah.
Yes.
He has the entire series really gave me, like, season 1 gave me this storybook telling feeling, like it wasn't like all fairy tales, but
it's the hero's journey.
Yeah, it is literally the hero's journey. And I enjoy Christian Convery as Sweet Tooth. I think he does a fantastic job. Sweet Tooth it's much like a lot of these other characters, especially like Goku and the original Dragon Ball, where his heart is so like innocent and so pure that, when it comes to like portraying someone, like he has to kind of figure things out on his own. And it really is like the fish out of water experience. So like his father like wrote books for him to read. So his father taught him how to read, but there's a lot of things he hasn't experienced himself, especially like with music. Episode 2, in the cabin, that was probably one of my favorites for sure. And it's like
that was magical.
Yeah, and Big Man, as he's called, was so quick to get rid of him.
He was destroying people in that cabin.
He was like
the thunder and lightning was going off. It was a badass.
That was like some Batman level type stuff right there. Like 100%. Like I was like, okay, I see you, Big Man. I see you. But yeah, like a lot of the side characters I think are pretty great. They aren't as forgettable, but that town, man, that neighborhood watch, I think it was like a cult almost. Like, I mean, I understand
weird
having like a close knit community, but you guys were getting a little too familiar up in there. But yeah, so that pretty much closes out. Like, unless I know I keep bringing it up, like anything else you wanted to touch on before we close out here, because I think we're getting towards the end at least.
We got it all.
Yeah, I pretty much think we got it all. If I would say for all of our listeners out there, if you haven't watched it yet, if it's available in your region for Netflix, definitely give it a watch. It's a DC property, but like it's not like your typical superhero anything. Actually, it's nothing like that whatsoever. It really is its own story, more of a coming of age. Like Devin said, a buddy cop journey, if you will, kind of globetrotting through the rest of the U.S. from Wyoming to Colorado. And it really is a great time. Like I said, it's only 8 episodes, so you can definitely finish it in a day. If you have the time, I know I did. We got a 3-day weekend coming up here soon, and I definitely implore people to go check this out because it really is a heartwarming story, and I really had a lot of fun with it. I felt like the pacing was fine between the 3 storylines. I will agree that the 2 girls, the woman and the girl, the half pig, half girl, human girl, that storyline was like, okay. But I feel like they were trying to like make us afraid of like those little pink ribbons because like that means that their section's been marked and they know that they're there.
Well, they already showed that in the beginning with Papa and Gus.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah. I love it how Papa had like a broom, but he's still like 20, 30 feet back. Make it seem like it's a shotgun. I was like, all right, that's actually kind of clever. But
and also, was it the cutest thing you've ever heard when Gus was describing playing catch?
Yeah. I love it.
What he called it, but he was like, I think he called it have a catch or something.
Yeah, and Big Man used to be. His character's name is Big Man. That's why we keep referring him to as that. But he used to be a football player. And, Gus is like trying to explain to him what the rules are. He's like, yeah, like you have to keep passing the ball around, and if it hits the ground, somebody loses. And he's like, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much football. Which I thought was pretty funny. Like he related to him on that level. And I really just love the chemistry between the 2 main characters for sure. It really kind of just brings things into light, and the script is so well done. With Big Man trying to get rid of Sweet Tooth however he can. But yeah, let's get into our ratings here. So I'm actually gonna go first with this rating scale. I'm gonna give this probably like a solid I give it like a solid A-. Honestly, like I think it's a very well thought out story. Like it's nowhere near perfect, like we said. The one of the 3 storylines kind of like loses us a little bit because not too much happens until like the very end. It's kind of like they're there to serve the purpose as to meet up with the other characters, which they do. But other than that, I really did enjoy it. Like I binged all 8 episodes today, started earlier this morning, and kind of just never left. I took a little bit of a break once episode 4 was over because it was more of the just a little bit of breath of fresh air. But I was able to knock it all out in one day, which I'm very, very surprised because I haven't done that in a very long time. But Devin, let me get your score on Sweet Tooth.
Yeah, I was gonna go with a solid B, like an 85. I think we mentioned earlier the biggest issue for me was the villain just being so lame. That definitely knocked it down to the B range for me. But other than that, it was still really enjoyable. Like I would definitely recommend it again.
Yeah, definitely. And like we say, hopefully Netflix is listening out there and we get a season 2 of Sweet Tooth because like I said, I was not sure what to expect from this series, and I sat down, I finally watched the trailer. I was like, oh man, this actually does look like it's right up my alley. I mean, for the most part, the story is simple and very, very easy to follow. So, it's not like there's a crap ton of characters you have to keep up with. But yeah, that pretty much concludes everything. Before we get out of here, I just wanted to go through a little bit more of housekeeping. So, but before we do, of course, wanted to thank Devin for always coming on to the podcast and, us talking shop about movies and TV shows, especially. It's just a pretty big year for TV. I'm not going to lie so far. Yeah. Have you started East of Maretown at all?
No.
I heard that one's pretty good. I think that's on HBO. But I watched the Actors on Actors with Kaylee Kuko and Elizabeth Olsen. And like, I kind of want to go back. Like, I want to actually go and watch The Flight Attendant because I hear that was pretty good. And they were talking about each other's like recent projects and whatnot. But anyway, I digress. What's up next on the docket? By the time this is out, our iCarly review of the first 3 episodes will be out as well. And also go check out our Luca review. And we have been covering Loki weekly. So we have, by the time this is out, I believe episode 3 should already be out and about for you guys out there. So yeah, it's been kind of crazy on our side, but I just wanted to say right now, like for everyone listening, I do believe we are going to be taking a step back from YouTube, at least for now, just with like, everything that's going on in both of our lives and uploading it every single week. I don't necessarily have like the proper equipment to house a lot of the video files. So at least as of right now, so I think we're going to be taking a step back on YouTube for now, because I mean, no one wants to listen to a still image on YouTube. You go there for the video content, that you want to see people smiling faces, and we promise we're going to give it to you guys. We just have to wait a little bit longer, hopefully by like the beginning of next year we can kind of start fresh and go from there. Hopefully I'll have a little bit better equipment by then, but we shall see. But I wanted to kind of put that out there. No YouTube for now, which, it's not the end of the world. We're still going to be pumping out the same content. You still get to listen to our amazing voices. So that pretty much settles it there. So let's wrap up here for today. And that's a wrap for today. Thank you all for listening. And if you enjoy the show, we greatly appreciate it if you can leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, and follow us on Twitter at Film Optix. That is Optix with an X, to stay in the know. That was Devin. My name is Christian, and we'll see you guys in the next one.